Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to a live stream slash recording of Hearthstone. Things may look a little bit different here. We've got chat coming up here. I'm adjusting that, working towards improving my channel for E3 and just for the future. I've got a new setup for E3 like this and like this too, and so that should be cool. And we've got Muhammad here. Here we have Muhammad saying, "Thanks for you, ha ha ha." Or HHH. Is HHH like a laugh, or is it a yes? I know ja 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 is like laughing out loud in depending on what language you're speaking, or your native language. Anyways, let's move on. We need to get 3 games with the Warriors, so let's play this. And let's see, what will we win if we play with the Warrior? How can we win? It's a new month, so we're at the low end. We don't need to play Warrior cards, so let's play this in Rage Deck and see how this works. There's a new line of Cherry MX. It's LOL, says Muhammad. Okay, that's what I thought. It was LOL, laugh out loud stuff. But I just wanted to be sure. There's a new Cherry MX switches that have been announced. I think at Computex, but I didn't write down that as solid fact. They're called the Silver Speed switches, and they're the same as the red switches. But, well, that was an easy victory. Except for they have half as long throws, so you don't have to push them as far as the Cherry MX red switches. So high-end gamers that are keyboard and mouse gamers will like that, or hopefully they would like that, and some may not. Most people won't buy it. I desperately need to find a keyboard that's quiet, not fast, because I'm not like doing professional esports league, World of Warcraft, not World of Warcraft, but StarCraft or anything like that would require my actions per minute be really high. So for just being a presenter and a YouTuber, I just need my keyboard to not make noise when I push the keys and playing games that require the keyboard. And I don't think Cherry sells anything that are super quiet. So I think what I'll probably end up doing is just finding a very cheap general keyboard that just has like rubber switches, so they don't make that clicky sound that most people like. Middle Earth Shadow of War has been delayed to October. I'm a little surprised about this. I really shouldn't be, but they really had no reason to announce the game at all if they were going to delay it this quickly. October is a fine time for the game to come out. It'll still be before the end of the year. Let's see, October, November, December, it'll be before the Black Friday sales and all of that, if it actually comes out at that time. Then I suppose would be the ultimate real question, though, is it going to actually make it to October, or is this just the first of many delays. And Middle-earth really had no reason to not just take its time and say it's ready when it's ready. Nobody was stealing. Oddly enough, nobody stole their Nemesis system. Nobody has bothered to do anything close to what they were doing. And while it is kind of a grindy game, in a good way, I mean, it was designed to allow you to grind it more if you wanted to. Middle-earth, Shadow Mordor. It's not, I don't think it's really competing with anything.
Made to fit.
Its time slot and release in October might be competing with something. Maybe that was why it was delayed, but there's not even a like Lord of the Rings event happening. No movies, no books, obviously, since J.R. Tolkien is dead. Yeah, I can't really say that this was a good business practice at all, to announce your game and then almost immediately delay your game. That does not inspire confidence. Let's see.
The blade be thirsty.
Strike.
Moving on, Eurogamer has an ad block pop up after apparently you see 40 to 50 articles, and boy is that annoying. And it's really gonna push me to stop looking at the literal just titles of Eurogamer articles, because that's all I ever look at, really. Is I'll look at the title that is really just something from a press briefing and rewrite it to report it here while I'm playing Hearthstone. Sometimes I'll look in the article if there's specific facts that aren't in the title, like if it says something's coming out in October, perhaps in the article it says October 25th and has an actual date. Otherwise, I don't read any of it, and I don't appreciate it, so I don't really want to look at their ads, and I don't most definitely want to look at their ads telling me to turn off my ad blocker so I can look at their ads. Because that's just another ad. And most certainly, if everybody did what I am doing, and blocking ads on Eurogamer, they would go out of business. I really don't even care that much. Sadly to say, it's like, if the old media goes out of business, that's fine. Fine with me. And see, I might have considered doing it if I thought for a second. I might have considered turning off ad blocker if I thought for a second their website wasn't going to be full of ads. But I can tell you right now, or my assumption here, is if they're willing to pop up an ad talking about the fact that you have an ad blocker, they're probably willing to do everything else to irritate a person who's viewing their site too. So I don't feel for a second that it's gonna be this just conservative, there's one banner ad at the top. I feel like as soon as I turned off the ad blocker, it would be 30 ads on the sidebar and 30 ads in the middle of the articles and 30 ads above the and so that's just a minor annoyance, I suppose, and I really there's no point to this conversation other than to say I once again absolve anybody for running an ad blocker and watching my channel, because I get it. I totally get it. I would wish people would watch my ads. I try my best to limit it so that you only see one at the beginning, or if you're watching it on the desktop, you may not even see one at the beginning. You may just see an ad as a banner ad at the bottom on the desktop. And sometimes, if you don't see either one of those, but very rarely, they will instead put ads at the end, and I don't think it's supposed to be any more than that. Now when I'm streaming, I do a little bit different than that. Like, I go 30 minutes and then I roll an ad in between every 30-minute recording, but that's the equivalent of what you would get watching my pre-recorded things. Often my pre-recorded videos are an hour long, so there's only one ad there. Unfortunately, I can't really control what shows up. That's just YouTube picking what it thinks will best interest you. So I can't attest for any of the quality, and neither can YouTube really. Speaking of which, I guess we might as well talk about this. YouTube just put out a announcement saying that they've gotten a significant amount of the advertisers who gave up on their on working with them. YouTube has gotten them back. So since the beginning of the year, YouTube has been very short on ads, and YouTubers in particular, have been complaining about seeing like 1/8 of their ad revenue. I really haven't been seeing that. If anything, everything's coming up cherries for me. An old slot machine reference. My channel's fine. I'm getting about $1 every week, which is not a lot, certainly, but it's more than my channel ever has done before. Maybe after E3, we'll see that bump up to $10 a week and stay consistently there. That would be nice. Maybe after E3 we could cross our fingers, go to $100 a week, $400 a month. It's still not a living wage, but it certainly would be a major improvement. But yeah, YouTube said they've gotten almost all those ads back, and on top of that, they've added some more limitations on what ad-friendly content is. So just so everybody knows, I guess, now they're specifically saying anything that's hateful, incendiary, demeaning is not going to be ad-friendly. So they're making it very, very clear as much time. And I wouldn't be surprised if YouTube says this over and over and over again. It's like, if it hurts anybody's feelings, it's not going to be ad-friendly. If it's demeaning, if it's provocative, if it's anything other than what you would be allowed to show on a Saturday morning cartoon, then it's not going to be ad-friendly. And that's it. Now, interestingly enough, I think one of the things that they added might specifically be from Disney Direct. Like, Disney handwrote this rule, because anything that uses a family-friendly character, which I assume has to be like directly involving a like Mickey Mouse or something like that, or like, because you can't really say Peter from Family Guy is a family-friendly character. That's wow, just not going to be accurate. I'm just gonna gain 1 attack. There we go. That was probably silly. So yeah, if you wanted to satire or criticize Mickey Mouse or some other family-friendly character, I suppose, like you couldn't even say Bill Cosby nowadays. That wouldn't count. Like, so who's a live-action family-friendly character that you could satirize and animate in some way? Like Blue, the owner of Blue from Blue's Clues, maybe. Like, maybe some of the kids from some of those really early Disney shows again. But that certainly wouldn't be any political leader or anything. You can't claim that they are family friendly. Of course, you can disallow all of these things for other reasons. You know what? Actually, come to think of it, we just had this big thing that blew up in Kathy Griffin's Griffin. I think it's Griffin. Everybody gets her name wrong. She jokes about it in her stand-up. She decided to make a photo shoot where she holds a bloody, decapitated Donald Trump head, and then she immediately apologized for it and got a huge backlash for it, as if she didn't know that was coming. She's a really weak comedian for that. In particular, she gets ideas, or her writers or producers or whoever maybe potentially are in charge of her tells her to do controversial things, or she does controversial things, and then she doesn't stick to her guns like a comedian should. And instead of doing what I would do if I was a comedian and just saying, yeah, I did it, you saw me do it, and I'd do it again. I intended to provoke you, and that's the satire, that's the comedy. That there's an argument that says I'm here to make you feel something. Did you feel something? Okay, good. But instead, she apologized for that. What's funny there is, if we want to get into really like tinfoil hat conspiracies, that's probably the most offensive, violent, and bloody thing that's been on YouTube, and been mainstream on YouTube at least. I'm not gonna win this. I've already lost. I burnt too hard, too fast at the beginning, showing off instead of actually holding back some cards. So if you wanted to get tinfoil hatty and just conspiracy theorists, was this yet another attack by the old media against YouTube? Can we, were they thinking, or can you make the argument to say, oh, look at YouTube, they allowed this horrifically gory thing on their site, where any newspaper or old media thing, any newspaper, TV channel, anything like that, would have censored that out and not allowed it. I mean, it's really creating the controversy directly, which, you know, that's what the PewDiePie Wall Street Journal thing was doing too. It was creating the controversy directly, but they hid it a little bit better than what this was. I'm gonna put that clearly, heavily into a conspiracy theory nut idea right now. There's really no way I would ever be able to prove that Kathy Griffin put objectionable material on YouTube in an attempt to make YouTube look bad to advertisers, in the same way that Wall Street Journal wrote an article to make YouTube look bad to advertisers. And frankly, I don't think it's going to work, but it's something to think about. It's a fun thing to give consideration to, I suppose. Moving on, Warframe has decided to partner with Top Cow. I'm not sure if Top Cow is owned by DC or if it's an independent comic book publisher. Right, I think it was independent for a long time, but it may have been bought out by DC. And so the Warframe video game is going to get a comic book series. There's a lot of Wonder Woman hype right now, particularly for girls. The Alamo Drafthouse in Texas is having a girls-only night where to watch Wonder Woman. And there's Google is trying to use Wonder Woman to teach girls to program. This is all good and fine and well, I suppose, but I think they're really missing the fact that there's a ton of guys who like Wonder Woman too. And frankly, Wonder Woman for the DC Comics is kind of one of the worst treated comic book series of the major characters. You very consistently have an effort, at least, to have good Superman and good Batman, but Wonder Woman, sometimes it doesn't really matter, and sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. And then you also need to take in the fact that Wonder Woman originally is just a character that was drawn and written by a guy who was into bondage fetishism, and there's evidence to back that up. That's not just speculation, so you can go look it up. He oddly was also the person that invented the lie detector, and that doesn't really work, so he unlike, say, Captain Marvel or Miss Marvel, where I feel like the characters were written in a more modern age and done to be more empowering, it's still very much, I hate to use the phrase male gaze, but Wonder Woman really was written from the male creator's perspective to make her look dominating and attractive to the creator. So she's not this huge icon, but I mean, you can overlook all that, certainly, and if the new movie is as successful as people are claiming it's going to be, and we shall see, I'm very iffy about that one too. That will be interesting. Even if Wonder Woman is a smashing success, she still has to get paired up with a not very popular Batman and a laughable, just going to get laughed at Aquaman, and Superman probably will come up in there too. I also have this idea that the actress who's playing Wonder Woman barely even speaks English. I don't think so. I don't know how she's going to handle being in these series of movies. She was hired for her appearance again, and that's Hollywood being sexist. I wonder if they could have gotten away with having some of those female wrestlers as Wonder Woman. Then she would have been able to do most of the actions.
Made to fit.
So, yeah, there's not really anything there. That's not barely even news. I'm just wanted to point out there's a lot of Wonder Woman hype going on, and we shall see in a couple of weeks if that succeeds or not. Moving on, the Switch wired headsets. If you want a wired headset for the Switch to do chat, because they're going to do the chat through cell phones, are going to require a ridiculous wire setup in which you're going to have to take a tip ring. Well, no, I think it would be tip ring sleeve connector, which looks like a mini stereo connector, but it has another ring on it for a headset. Just a headset connector, let's just call them that. You're going to have to take one of those from your headset, plug it into a breakout box that then is going to break the headset cord in half. So there's one headset cord that goes to your phone, assuming your phone has a headset phone cord. If you're using like the new iPhone, you're going to have to use a dongle to go to like a Thunderbolt or Lightning connector connection. And after and then your second cord from that breakout box will go into the audio headphone connector of the Switch. So there's a considerable amount of extra dongles and connectors you would have to do. So I think very few people are going to be using a headset with a Switch, which, let's just be honest, very few people were. Like, if you've got a portable thing, I'm sure parents will want you to have headphones plugged into your Switch if you're a kid playing the Switch. But then if you're playing it in portable mode around your parents, you're also not going to be talking through the internet, are you? So, I imagine it'll be easier to do different things than that. Let's see. If I do this, then do this, do this, and then do this, and that seems pretty good. Moving on with the news, I've spent too much time on conspiracy theories and not enough time actually covering the news, and I've got so much here. Sega announces a publishing partnership with former Lionhead and Bullfrog veterans. The name of the studio that the Lionhead Bullfrog developers are in now is called 2 Point Studios. So that will be interesting. It really just means Sega is willing to publish the games that they make, whatever games they do make, and it doesn't really mean too much because they may just be making like mobile games or something like that. Despite your pedigree, if you were just one or two people of a team of 10 or 20 and you have no interest or skill to continue what that previous company did, like Lionhead or Bullfrog. Bullfrog in particular made like Dungeon Keeper, one of my favorite games. They're not going to make a new Dungeon Keeper. They don't have the rights to it, I don't think. Oh no, maybe they will. That would be interesting. Certainly.
The blade be thirsty.
Let's see. The App Store developers in general have earned over $70 billion, which is a lot. That's the Apple App Store. What's funny about this, though, is that Apple tried to make a claim, and most people laughed in their face that they were paying attention, that for every app on the App Store, they're creating jobs. And so that they're trying to make the argument that Apple has created so many jobs everywhere that they're great job creators. And I'm like, Apple hires some people, certainly. That's true, but that doesn't mean you can claim anybody who maybe spent a month to put out a quick and easy app is full-time employed for the long term. Like, if I write one article, can the newspaper claim that they've really created a job, or have they just hired me for a freelance job? If you paint your neighbor's house because you're nice, are you now a professional painter who's always employed, or are you or are you just a nice neighbor? It's too much of an exaggeration. What did I do with the mouse? I put it over there. I'm gonna lose again.
Made to fit.
Minecraft, the Pocket Win 10 version, just now gets 1.1, the Discovery update, which adds llamas and shulker boxes and a couple other things. I just wanted to point that out because, man, is that far behind. That is really, really far behind from the Java version. I don't see why anybody would want to go to the Pocket version from playing the Java version. A new Tropico was announced for PS4, Xbox One, and PC in 2018, which that means I think I own a few Tropico games. Maybe I should play some of those. That would probably be the right thing to do. We'll see if I can schedule it. Last stream I was looking through all of my, just nobody was on, and I can't blame anybody for not being on because I started so late in the evening. But I was looking through all of my Steam library and just installing games and looking at everything I have, and I certainly am missing quite a few things that I would have liked to have, but it also was an easy way for me to like set the path for the next 6 months to a year. It's pretty easy to realize. There you go, 22 damage. There's a lot of longer games in my collection that I want to cover, and they're going to take up time. And sadly, I don't know if I have enough time. I push myself to make a lot of footage, and I fear that one day I'm just going to fall behind horribly, and that'll be the day that nothing airs on my channel, or very little airs on my channel. The only thing I could think of to maybe fight back on that would be if I started airing 2 Hearthstone episodes in 2 time slots instead of just 1 per day, or however many I do per day. I think just 1. That would let me burn through some of my Hearthstone collection and build a buffer, but it doesn't really help my channel that much, because then if people aren't interested in watching Hearthstone, then they are just losing something else. Well, we need 2 more victories with the Hunter Mage, 1 more victory with the Warrior, and to play 50 Warlock cards. So we're making good progress, I think, but still a lot of news, still a lot to do. Stay tuned if you're watching live. That's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.